Hello, I'm MPX Toycat, and as someone who looks at a lot of Minecraft suggestions, let me tell you, everyone has their idea about how they would totally make Minecraft a much better game, but the truth is, most of these suggestions are absolutely terrible. Take, for example, First, which is the worst suggestion, because if you add a first bar to the game, it just adds another thing you have to do. It doesn't make the game more fun, it just makes it more tedious, and there's also the examples of guns or cars and all of these other things that people suggest that no one else would like besides them, but it would be cool, so that's totally fine. And that's why in today's video I figured I'd talk about my terrible ideas that I at least admit would make Minecraft worse, but that I want to see anyway, partly because I enjoy human suffering, but partly because it just seems like it'd make Minecraft more of my type of game at the expense of everyone else. Yeah, you don't exist as people, you're all imaginary as far as I'm concerned, just like the idea of water being infinite, it's imaginary. As we've seen from the water shortages that are really affecting the real world, water is finite in the real world, but it's not finite in Minecraft. In fact, did you know it used to be more infinite than it was right now? It used to be that when water spilled into an area, it would fill the area entirely without losing any of itself. This meant that like the tendency in a Minecraft world was towards more flooding, which sounds terrifying, but also sounds like it has some consequences. But no, yeah, I would like the idea of finite water, so that water, when moved from one place to another, stops existing in the previous place. The idea of infinite water sources, see, it is a bug, you know, that they just are happy with, but I would love to remove that bug, because water being finite would force us to live by a source of water, and then when we want to grow crops, for instance, which would have to use some percentage of that, we'd have to consider that. Also, we might it might be worth making like aqueducts to move water around the world. I would love to have water pumping, you know, redstone mechanics, and again, this would make Minecraft worse. It would make farms less easy and maybe less interesting to most people, but I think finite water and having to manage that finite water, it's something that could make Minecraft more realistic in a way that everyone besides me would hate. Speaking of things like that, let's talk about nutrition in Minecraft, because right now, the way everyone eats is they pick a stack of their favorite food. If you want a lazy food, it's melons or it's bread. If you want a good food, it's a steak, or if you're really rich, golden carrots. But people pick a stack of a food they like, and they leave that as their main source. Nobody ever, bothers to vary things up by being like, I'm gonna have some steak for breakfast, I'm gonna have some bread for lunch, and then, you know, I'm gonna treat myself to a bowl of mushroom stew for dinner. No, nobody does that, and I think there should be a benefit to doing so. And again, this is maybe a useful lesson it could teach you about the real world, that like, hey, did you know if you just eat steak 50 times a day, you're gonna get horrifically malnourished? You know, if you just eat bread, it's gonna have the same problems. Did you know you need a healthy, balanced diet? Why does Steve not need a healthy, balanced diet? What makes him so special? No, I think there should be some bonus, admittedly, like having a penalty for just eating the same food. I don't think that's a great idea, even though I like bad ideas, but I think what would be really interesting is if we gave some bonus for eating a healthy, balanced diet. What if you got a good mixture of, your vegetables as well as your protein in the form of the steaks and the cooked pork chops, as well as the bread? That would be really interesting. It would encourage you to bring different food types with you and watch what you ate, and then we'd all learn a thing about the real world, and we'd all be healthier, smarter people, or in reality, people would think it's dumb and they'd get it. They download a mod to make it out for the game, but I still think it's a great idea, because in the real world, you feel great when you've eaten a balanced diet sometimes, or maybe that's just me. Anyway, with that said, the next idea I have, okay, so right now I've suggested two pretty bad ideas, but this is the one that's going to get the raging comments that go, Toycat, you're a madman, we need to find someone to assassinate him, because my next idea is to just remove stairs and slabs from Minecraft, you know, especially trapdoors too. I hate these partial blocks in Minecraft that people overuse to a really dumb extent. Minecraft is a block building and placing game. Minecraft is not like a 3D editor where you can build precisely anything you want. You know, there is the chisels mod where people make these really intricate builds. I think that's interesting, but I like that that's a Minecraft mod. Minecraft itself fundamentally is about moving blocks around. You're moving blocks of this certain unit from one place to another. If we really don't like the size of those blocks, then maybe those blocks should be smaller. Sure, I could see an argument for making every quarter block its own thing, but I think the idea of having slabs that only exist for a certain sub-selection of blocks, really bizarre, really dumb in my opinion. Having stairs that exist for a sub-selection of blocks, you know, the stone-based blocks, but not concrete, because that concrete's very different, and also not some of the stone types, but also lots of things that aren't stone, like wood and copper, for reasons I'm not entirely sure about. And you know what? It just doesn't make any sense, the stairs and slabs dichotomy. Either everything should be able to be made into a stair, a slab, and even better, a little quarter block. That, in my opinion, would make a lot of sense. If we have the 3/4 block in the stairs, why not have the quarter block in the anti-stairs? But I think, in my opinion, that we could do a very good job by just removing them all together, because unless you want to make the effort of making everything stairs and slabsable within reason, you know, but even then, like, why can't we make a leaf stair block? Why can't we make a a water slab? These things would just make sense, but they don't make sense. And so in that universe, also known as this universe, let's just remove stairs and slabs altogether. You think you like them, but that's only because you're used to them. Really, they're limiting the blocks that you can build with. Did you know there's like 300 blocks in Minecraft, but you only use the 20 that have stairs and slabs, and it means all the builds look the same, and it's like, we need to fix this problem one way or the other, and my way is the easiest way. I like fixing things easily. Speaking of things that could be easy, I would love to see weather that works locally in Minecraft. So, a lot of people always suggest the idea of natural disasters, and let me just tell you, this is a terrible idea. They've confirmed many times they're not going to do it, and the reason they're not going to do it is because just having a volcano explode and ruin your house, that's not gameplay, that's just a random chance of everything going terribly. I think natural disasters are a bad idea, but I think weather should be a local event, so that, for instance, if it's raining where you are, you could escape the storm by running away from it. Or also, for instance, there should always be a part of your world, it might be hundreds or thousands of blocks away, where it is raining. Did you know that when it's snowing in Texas, it can be sunny in Florida? Did you know that when it's raining in the UK, it can be delightfully warm in southern Germany? I bet you didn't know. I'm pretty sure you are aware of that fact, because that's how weather works. It's different in different places. Why is the Minecraft world 30 million by 30 million blocks, but still doesn't have a simple grasp of weather not being global? Also, while we're at this, why is it that when you get to the edge of your Minecraft world, you just hit a barrier if you're playing Java Edition, and you hit a big set of farland walls when you're playing Bedrock? Wouldn't it make more sense if it looped round to the other side? Would it be that hard to program it so at 30 million blocks on the x-axis, you eventually hit negative 30 million, you go all the way around like it's a globe? Is Minecraft trying to promote the fact that the world is flat? Because that's the impression I get. I play a lot of Minecraft, and I'm starting to think these so-called scientists that tell us the world is curved, maybe they just haven't played a simple game of Minecraft. Maybe they haven't implored the simplest possibility that maybe the Earth is flat, it's disc-shaped, the sun and the moon are going round it like they do provably in Minecraft. They fall underneath the world. Did you know that? I bet you didn't know that. It's ridiculous. Why does it happen that way? Maybe the Earth and the sun and the moon really are just like that, and scientists just tell us about other planets so they can justify spending our money on space exploration. Maybe that's true, or maybe Minecraft should just work like the real world and have a nice little spherical Earth. Or maybe Minecraft should add a lot more structures. I've always thought Minecraft would be better with 100+ structures. I don't understand why. It's been out for a solid 12 years now, and despite that, we have, depending on how you count it, somewhere less than 30 structures, sometimes a little bit more, but somewhere in that ballpark. That is a structure being made every 4 to 6 months. What is, it's not that hard to make structures. I feel like if you give me a good afternoon, even if you're really considering you're trying to make them all exciting things, I feel like you could make 5. Maybe I'm being too generous to my own structure creation ability, but like, for instance, it took them a whole year just to add 3 types of temple: the desert temple, then the jungle temple, then in the next update, the swamp temple, also known as the witch hut, and then they never made another temple. What was the point of having temples for every biome if after 3 biomes you stopped? I think I've even considered doing this many times myself, just making my own 100+ structures and then making it like a mod or an add-on or a world that you can download with custom terrain, because I think structures are a really exciting part of Minecraft. They give you a little bit of an adventure, a little bit of a quest. They give you something to build onto if you want to, or they give you a little challenge, or they reward you with loot. They make exploration fun, and I don't understand why we have so few of them, and why they vary so much in size, quality, shape. It's ugly. And yeah, I think having 19 structures, if you're using the strictest definitions, is just too few. We should have 190 structures. Why don't we, Mojang? Why don't we just hire a structure designer? I don't get it. We can make them rare if we want to. If you're worried they'll interfere with the game, make the desert well more rare and then have a second type of it. Make 4 variants of the jungle temple. Like, I'm just saying, there's lots of ideas, and for some reason we don't play around with them enough. Speaking of things we don't play around with enough, I think Amplified is a great world option, only exists on Java and a weirder version on PlayStation 4 edition, but I think amplified should be on by default sometimes. Damn the performance issues. I think that you should be able to roam into a biome and it's amplified. It's just a giant, massively amplified terrain because that's how the real world works. Have you ever seen the Himalayan mountains? The Indian subcontinent smashed into Asia. That's why it's called a subcontinent, I think. But there's mountains. It's the Mount Everest. It's the tallest mountain on Earth. Why is that mountain 8,300 blocks? But if you're lucky, the mountains in your world will be like 64 blocks from the ground. There's a serious difference there. Sometimes we need amplified, okay? I think that having random amplified biomes would be great. I also think, this is a bit of a weirder one, I think there should be a biome that is super flat. I think that, that perfect flat terrain should exist every now and then. It should be a unicorn biome, so 1 every 100, but I think Minecraft should be more used to rare unicorn events. I think people love finding a mesa. They're not that rare, but it's kind of unique. I think people love finding mushroom biomes because they are rare, interesting events. They don't even need to be that interesting. That's why I think 100 structures is such a great idea. That's why I've literally toyed with this idea like 5 times before this video and like 50 times in the last few years. Just like, wouldn't Minecraft be more unique if there were more of these quirky, rare, off-chance biome possibilities, these rare off-chance structure possibilities? I think that it totally would. Why don't they exist already? I don't know. The cave update, like they have, we talk about it a lot, but I think just add a bunch of structures underground and then you make people excited to dig down there. I think that Minecraft terrain needs more rare, weird events because that's something that long-term players will really like, and that's also something that can really shock a new-time player when they first play, and that's something I'd love to see. But it's not the only thing I'd love to see. I'm going to move on here to the final idea because explosive arrows are something every time it comes up I'm like, I know this can't be added. I know the griefing possibilities of explosive arrows. I know the performance issues of explosive arrows, and most importantly the is it even that useful gameplay wise? But the thing about explosive arrows that all of those things don't consider is that they're really cool. If you had arrows that exploded, explosive tip on them, TNT loaded arrows, when they hit something it would be so cool. It would be cool as heck. It would be one of the most cool things that you ever saw, and that's why I want to see it added to Minecraft. But ultimately that is the big point behind a lot of features that people like the idea of. People are easily swayed by things that are cool. It looks great when you see it in a 5-second gameplay clip. It looks great when you hear the idea, the sales, the elevator pitch is amazing, like, ooh, that does sound interesting. But ultimately Minecraft is not a game that is built around these 5-second moments. There are games that are built around those, but Minecraft is not one of them. Minecraft is a game that is about the long-term experience. They balance the game so that it is fun to play in the long run. And although personally, of course, I would love to see water usage be a part of that, or I'd love to see weather, or I'd love to see more structures in the game. That's the one I really have the hardest time saying why it's a bad idea, besides wasting time. But they've got hundreds of stuff, and I in my head I've got hundreds of structures ideas that would all be interesting. But when you look at all those ideas, ultimately they're not the priority for Mojang. Adding guns and cars, they don't feel like Minecraft. They don't feel like Minecraft when you add cool explosive arrows because they make the game worse in lots of ways. Same with natural disasters and all these other big list of things. When you add things to Minecraft, you need to consider not only their impact right now, the first time you see them, but the 5th time, the 10th time. You've got to consider the impact on the long-term survival player who's taking control of their world and doing things that they really enjoy, because ultimately Minecraft is not just a block building game. It is a game where no one can tell you what you can and cannot do, and that better include the developers, in my opinion. But speaking of my opinion, I hope you'll enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, or whatever YouTube's tell you to at the end. Did you know some percent of you aren't subscribed? Well, you know what? Maybe it should stay that way. Maybe you shouldn't be subscribed. Maybe it's better for you if you're not subscribed to this channel, because it doesn't make any sense. These videos suck, and you'd all be better off if you didn't find another one. Although I'm gonna play my outro here anyway, because you know what? I like the music. But it's not for you, it's for me. Okay, thank you for watching. Goodbye.